Let's talk about Tata Martino's squad that he's brought into this. Want to get your reactions on this. We'll have Des put it up on the screen, and also discuss the absence of Marcelo Flores. Just kind of give us your overall take from this lineup, from this group that's been called in for these matches.
Look, I think it's a very positive call up for some of the players that we have not seen. There's some players on here that everybody was saying, where's Arteaga? Why isn't he on the squad? Look at what's happening with Chaka and Gallardo. These players are not getting that intensity. And we have some players at home. And it's not because they haven't been playing football like Eric Gutierrez, right? It's because Tata just didn't want to call him. I feel some of the fans feel like he got a little knock on the door in his office and said, yo, there are players that are playing good. We're not getting the results. You need to call them up, right? People are a little upset with the 4 keepers. Why bring in 4? And just like you said, why not bring in a Marcelo Flores to come in and cap tie him? But I understand with COVID, with travel, with 3 games, he feels he needs to continue this 4 keepers, calling him up. And right now, I think people are okay with this because this is who we have. There isn't anybody on here that I'm like, you need to have this person, maybe some of the Atlas winners that you have on there, maybe some Leon players, but at the same time, who are we going to kick off? You need that, that balance.
Balance.
Yeah, you got to have that balance of kids that are hungry and intensity. And you need to have that seniority, and it's World Cup qualifying. You can't just throw in a bunch of kids in there. So I think everybody's good. I like it. I don't think there's anybody there that shouldn't have been there. I'm excited to see Diego Lainez finally play, and we'll see if he gets some minutes. But 3 games in a week, you need a lot of people to come in and not be tired. That third game,
Jimmy,
you said, Jimmy.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to talk about this Jamaica game because it's in Kingston, and the last time he played against Jamaica at Azteca, it was a late goal by Henry Martin that ended up kind of salvaging
89th minute.
89th minute.
It's actually,
and that was a little dicey to start the qualifying window for Mexico, but they did what they had to do, which seems to be a bit of a hallmark of this team under Tata Martino. They always figure out a way to do just enough to get the result. Not all the time, obviously. There's going to be, no, what are you talking about? We lost to Canada and the U.S. in the same window. I get that. But ultimately, there's a nice, for me, balance of young and old, and it's up to Tata to find that. As you mentioned, the balance. With this though, we had trouble in Kingston. Michail Antonio is a handful. Yep. He wasn't involved along with all the other European-based guys or the English-based guys for Jamaica that first time around. How do you think the team prepares for this? Do you think there's a back 3, a back 4? I mean, how are you going to really get at this Jamaican team who on their day are very, very good?
Jamaica talents are there. We saw it. I was in that Kingston game in the sideline with the US.
That's right.
I was there looking at I was waiting for something flashy from Jamaica, and it happened. And then it just, even though there wasn't that big crowd, there's not going to be that many people there. But I think, Tata is understanding what's happening with World Cup qualifying, right? Can't just throw out the team out there with talent and then he lacks intensity. He can't throw out just the youngsters because, they don't have the experience. 4-4-3. I don't think he shies away from that. But it's funny. He did go to a 4-4-2 against Jamaica at the end, and that's how they scored. What's important is that, right now there are going to be some players that are not going to be playing in that Jamaica game, which is the most important game for Mexico. Mexico loses this game, and here comes once again now the pressure at the Azteca with Costa Rica, who we're saying, right, could surprise everybody that needs that win. Up top, no Raul Jimenez. We got already confirmation because his calf. He didn't play over the weekend, so they're nursing. You're waiting for him, which is good because it's going to be a very physical type of game. No Chucky Lozano because he got his yellow cards and now he's not going to be in it. So up top, we already looking to see who's going to be able to score. So it'd be interesting. I don't think he shies away from his 4-4-3. So I think it'll still stick away with that mentality of going around the sides and making sure there's possession there and it's quick because it's going to be a fast game against Jamaica.
Hey, Heath, Wiso's saying they're going with a 4-4-3. That's 12 players. No wonder Mexico wins all the time. They're cheating.
I see that.
They're adding extra players.
4-3-3.
I want to play a
4-3-3. 4-3-3. See, now I'm confused. Now we're going on to. Sorry.
Mommies.
4-3-3. Well, we need a 4-4-3 so we can win.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this, Wiso. I know we're talking specifically about this Jamaica game, and I want to know your thoughts on the team and culturally. How do you think style of play they match up with Jamaica? Obviously, it's very different away from home than it is at home, and obviously there was an empty stadium at Azteca. It's probably going to be empty in Jamaica as well. How do they match up there? And then when you look at these 3 matches in this window, do you play your best team available in all of them? Jimmy and I talked about this yesterday on USMNT Hour. It seems like it's time for the U.S. to go with at least a consistent lineup going through the rest of these matches, knowing that you know what you've got for most of these guys, but you also need the points. I mean, do you think there's going to be a big squad rotation knowing that he brought in this big of a group?
It's hard to say because you guys saying, I think we should have a consistent because you're getting results, right? So once you're getting results, you're knowing, okay, this is who we have. But in these windows where you're playing 3 teams in a week, how could you go with your best every time, right? Because there's so much that's happening outside of the level. So I'm actually, when I try to jot down my starting 11, I look at what Tata, it's completely different because I think I know what I need, but I'm not there at camps. So I would say that, yes, there's a back line. There's some players that are going to be there. Ochoa and Edson are not leaving, but there's so many different variations of fast, young players that want, the Olympic players that Mexico had with that experience that I think we're going to see rotaciones in all 3 games, and we're not going to see a consistent 11 until later. Because
do you think that Tata Martino knows his best 11, assuming everybody's healthy, or do you think it's still in flux? Because I feel
how many does he know? You think?
I think he knows. I don't. I think he knows, and I think that's why he's been wrong. I think when we're looking at how many players, and I did this exercise, I think he's got 18 out of the 23 players that are going to the World Cup, 17, 18, like for sure not going, but they're not giving him the results. So therefore, fans and everyone's kind of asking, well, that's not the 11. That's why some of these new players that came in that haven't been called, that he didn't want on the call up, and all of a sudden he does, are hopefully going to make the difference. For example, Julian Araujo, who's playing well. Players want to see him start, who's never started with the Mexican national team World Cup qualifier. They want to do a Pepe and throw him in there, and see what happens because they're frustrated that we're not getting those results. Chaka and Gallardo, who we've seen over and over and over, those are Tata's guys, and they like his system. So sometimes we got to take the fan out and go, the coach knows, and hopefully trust that process. Heath, to your question, how does Jamaica play? I feel like Mexico's always had a good results against Jamaica. And if it's Gold Cups and has played them regularly, knows his style of play, that's it. Lots of possessions, know that they can come fast, and has those players that, can make, like just what happened with the U.S., a golazo from 40 yards.
Yeah, right. No, I was gonna jump in and ask that it seems like Tata Martino, because Greg Berhalter gets a lot of flack for sticking with a couple core guys that a lot of the fans don't like, or a lot of the boisterous, most biggest voicing fans, as I say on social media. And it seems like Tata Martino has his own Jets and Roldans and Acostas. And it's hard to get away from that. Can you speak to what Tata Martino says about those players? Because I think whatever he says can obviously be used in defense of how Greg utilizes his roster as well.
And with that, I mean, you have a guy like Guardado. How are you going to take away a guy that has so much, has given so much as a team, is such a leader, but the pace is not there. And then he's doing something really great in Europe. He's playing great with Real Betis when he plays 87, 90 minutes, and then comes to the national team and he's not playing as well. People are ready to take him out. So there are players on there, specifically our defense, Chaka and Gallardo, who keep getting these, these starts. But then fans are kind of be like, okay, we want Jorge Sanchez in there. We want somebody else. And it still doesn't work. It's not like we're getting the results with players that are coming in. Now we're going to see Arteaga, who's done great in Europe. Now we're going to see Eric Gutierrez in the midfield. But again, I don't necessarily think you put in one player here, and all of a sudden we're a great team, which is, how fans are. I feel because of the World Cup qualifiers, because it's not easy winning in these games away, right? You're gonna have fans that are gonna be like, all right, we want a complete change and overhaul. I'm gonna get young players. People calling for Marcelo Flores. I think the kid is going to be great, but there's still a lot of time for this player to get to the national team. Glad he was given a chance here in the United States in a game in Austin, but people are already calling for him to be in a World Cup qualifier, and I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. My last question on this is the pressure that's on Jamaica and Mexico. Obviously, Jamaica are just the point in front of El Salvador. They've started slow, not able to have their best players. Now we've seen the impact of Michail Antonio. Their job now is to go on a run. They're playing at home. They're going to go for all 3 points, no doubt. Do you think that plays into the advantage of Mexico? And what do you think the final result will be of this match?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they need these three points, especially at home coming in. I don't think they've lost in actually a while. They've tied a few games in the last few matches. And new coach, I think Hall is saying that they're ready. The game versus Peru that they just had prepared them against Mexico, and they're willing to take those chances to get that. I believe that this window is finally going to get. I think mathematically everybody still can make it to the World Cup, right? But I think this window, there are the teams at the bottom that are like, if we don't win, we're not going. So we're going to give it all out. This is it for us. So we're going to have some teams that finally, mathematically, I would believe, are not going to be able to make it to the World Cup. So this is it. Jamaica needs this win, and it's not going to be easy for Mexico, especially with the pressure already. And are games easy when they're not home? Absolutely not.
All right. What's your prediction on this one, Lisa? We can't let you get away without saying what your prediction is.
I'm gonna go with a tie. I think that Jamaica's gonna go is gonna try to get this win, right? New interim coach.
I thought you were excited about the new year, man.
I am excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited with the new year, but I'm going with the tie because I believe it's 7 out of the 9 points that Mexico's going to get in these. And I don't think Mexico loses points at home. So I have to go with the hardest game. It's on the road. Yeah. Going with a tie. I hope that it's a win. I hope we can get back on that leadership. But
low scoring or
I think low scoring. I think 1-1. 1-1. If there's not even a goals, I feel like that's how it is, just because of how it is. And I don't think the best squad is going to be playing against Jamaica because people are injured.
Yeah, Jimmy, what's your prediction?
I'd be happy with the draw. I think Jamaica might not be as much
happy.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, Jamaica. What's interesting about Jamaica is they've got 7 points. And right above them in the table is Costa Rica on 9. Costa Rica plays Panama. We're going to talk about that. And obviously, Costa Rica can make some moves there. I feel like Jamaica's got to replicate what Costa Rica does in this first game, because they play Costa Rica later and they play Panama. So Jamaica plays the 3 teams that are right above them in the table, and they need to get some points. They got to take some scalps, as we like to say. And you have to try to get your points at home. Mexico might be too tough of a hurdle for them to overcome. And even despite some of the injuries, they still have a DNA and an identity that's tough to break down. But it says games against Costa Rica and Panama, I think that could prove to be the difference, whether Jamaica can actually scale up the table and try to get that 4th spot to get into the playoff.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the draw as well. I think Jamaica are going to go for that win as they need to. And obviously, you can watch this game on Paramount Plus as well as the other games outside of the U.S. match for this first match day. But I think Jamaica end up with a point, trying to break down this Mexico side, giving everything, which could lead to one of those goals that we don't expect, that we talked about similarly with the U.S., where they open up a little bit too much, going for everything and end up giving up everything. But overall, I think a draw sounds about right, considering that Mexico should be actually quite content or happy to take the draw, knowing their next 2 matches, they should probably get 3 points.